James Gunn just revealed the Lex Luthor fans have been asking for 40 years. But why is half the internet hating on what might be the most comic-accurate detail? Today, I'm going to show you why this armor isn't just a practical suit, but proof that Brainiac is already among us. And stay tuned, because a hidden detail in Nicolas Hoult's armor connects this movie directly to a group of villains nobody expected. Finally, my friends, we've finally reached the historic moment where we'll see in a large-scale live-action theatrical production Lex Luthor wearing this famous technological armor. To be fair to the timeline, this isn't the first time the character has used this suit in a live-action format. He has already appeared in smaller television productions, and of course, we were shaped by watching the villain with this look in classic animations, like the unforgettable Superman the Animated Series. We've had the golden opportunity to see Lex Luthor this way back in our childhoods, but now the scale is different. We are talking about cinema. Here, we have actor Nicolas Hoult officially posing with the villain's imposing armor. And this is where I want to open a very important parenthesis about the internet's reaction. I saw people complaining a lot on social media. The first wave of criticism came down hard on the fact that the photo's lighting isn't very good for the reveal of such an important suit. A lot of people argued that the colors, the classic green and purple, weren't very noticeable or highlighted in this promotional image. Some even claimed it was a strategic mistake by James Gunn to release the villain's first official image with this specific photograph of Nicolas Hoult. But you want to know my real opinion? I liked it, my friends. I really liked it. To me, this armor is a solid 9 or 10, easily. It's really good. The look is imposing, and I honestly can't understand the crowd that's throwing hate at it. While many criticize the colors, if you look at the colorimetry of the 1983 Action Comics, you'll realize that the neon purple and green are intentional to contrast with Superman's organic palette. Those who have been following the channel for a long time know exactly how I operate. I criticize when I don't like it, I point out the flaws when the material is bad, I don't make excuses for studios. But when the material is actually good, when the team nails it, I make a point to speak up and give credit where it's due. The problem is that the folks on the internet seem to have an absurd ill will towards absolutely everything coming out of the new DCU. It's a rooting against mentality that's getting annoying. But hold your horses, guys. Let's dial it back. We don't need to be one-sided about everything. Just because you might not have liked a casting choice or a previous uniform doesn't mean everything James Gunn does from now on needs to be thrown in the trash. You need to have some balance when analyzing things. I thought it was sensational because I've been wanting to see Lex Luthor show up with his famous battle armor in theaters for a long time, and seeing that the villain's very first promotional image focuses on that indicates that the movie won't be afraid to embrace the stylish campiness and sci-fi of the comic books. I'll give you 3 technical reasons why the hate is wrong, and the second reason involves the real physics of how practical suits work on set. For those who like well-founded, nerdy history and references, it's extremely interesting to highlight where the inspiration for this armor in the Superman comics came from. The first time the world saw this classic suit, with its emblematic green and purple color palette, was in the pages of the historic Action Comics issue number 544, published in June 1983. In other words, we are talking about material that came out almost at the very end of the pre-Crisis on Infinite Earths era. At that time, we had a spectacular story written by writer Cary Bates and masterfully drawn by the legendary Curt Swan. And here's a fantastic coincidence that shows James Gunn's level of detail. On the cover of that exact Action Comics issue, the main story was precisely about the origin of Luthor's new look, and, simultaneously, brought a revamp of the villain Brainiac. This 1983 run is a masterpiece, and it's clearly James Gunn's blueprint for the DCU. Quick heads up though, these classic collections are selling out fast because of the movie hype. I've dropped the direct Amazon link in the description so you can grab your copy before it's gone, or the price skyrockets on the secondary market. Don't miss out on this one. Look at how the gears of destiny turn. Remember that in Man of Tomorrow, we will have, for the first time in the shared DC cinematic universe, Luthor using his technological armor, And at the same time, the main threat's grand antagonist will be Brainiac himself. This proves that James Gunn knew perfectly how to combine the classic appearances of the characters, rescuing their most iconic modern items and connecting them directly to the cosmic villain's mythology. It's no accident, it's pure historical reference. Another point that totally won me over about this armor, this suit is completely practical. James Gunn himself has gone public on social media to reinforce that he avoids the unnecessary use of heavy CGI for character suits as much as possible. In fact, it must be a really cool experience to see Nicolas Hoult walking around in this massive suit on the filming sets. The actor himself even talked a bit about this feeling on his social media, commenting on the weight and presence the suit gives the character.
Of course, the internet is unforgiving. Some people even joked, mockingly, saying the visual effects and CGI in the photo were garbage. James Gunn, who doesn't take things lying down, replied quite ironically, "Oh, okay, cool, if you think so." Precisely because what the hater thought was cheap computer graphics was actually a real armor, physically built by the practical effects team. At the end of the day, the suit exists in the real world. Let's see how the dynamic performance of this outfit will be when we have the character moving around in behind-the-scenes videos. If it's really going to be something out of this world and realistic like the director expects, I'm paying to see it. A lot of people called it CW level, but what the Twitter critics didn't realize is what happens when you zoom in on the metal texture. One detail catches a lot of attention. Did you see the Argos logo? That's not just an Easter egg. If you know Rick Flag Sr.'s history, you know this completely changes the reason why Luthor is wearing this armor right now. We have the Argos Corporation logo discreetly appearing on the structure. This gives us a massive narrative clue, indicating that the armor was manufactured or designed with Argos technology. And if we jog our memory, Lex Luthor has a strongly established connection with the character Rick Flag Sr. in this new universe. The actor playing Rick Flag Sr. has actually already shot all his scenes for the feature and publicly stated that his work on set is done. This raises a question. Will Rick Flag Sr. have a small role or just a cameo in the movie? Everything points to yes. There probably won't be enough screen time for him to be an active protagonist, but his presence serves as a bridge. We might see the Argos Corporation being responsible behind the construction of this armor, or at least Luthor, astute as always, using Argos' confidential equipment and technology to build his warsuit, even while being a government prisoner. Looking at the armor's structure, there's a very clever design detail. Generally, in older comic book stories, Lex Luthor doesn't wear this protective dome or helmet on his head. The character came with a fully armored body, equipped with the most technological gear to protect him, but his head was left completely exposed. Let's admit it, that was always a bit weird and illogical in fiction. You build a billion-dollar armor to face a being that shoots lasers from his eyes, but you leave your bald head completely unprotected against primary strikes, right? In this case, I believe the use of the helmet has a reason that goes a bit beyond simple defense. Maybe Luthor ends up going to space to fight Brainiac, or somewhere else where he needs to protect his head and also be able to breathe. So those possibilities definitely exist. And here's a quick side note for you guys. If we actually look closely at Action Comics number 544, we can see that Lex is also wearing a helmet in that classic comic run. So all that internet drama about the dome, it's completely uncalled for. What we're seeing here is just pure 100% comic-accurate faithfulness. And it doesn't stop there. This image shows details that a lot of people aren't catching, like Luthor's arm, for example.
Looking at the technical details of the arm, it looks like we have a wrist weapon attached to it, probably to fire Kryptonite energy blasts. And the purple and green colors, in the way they were arranged, made some people compare the look to the robots from Evangelion, while the biggest trolls said he looked like Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story. Excuse me, my friends, but I personally can't see absolutely anything bad in this image. I really like this reveal a lot. I thought it was an excellent first official image to show us the weight of Lex Luthor. But of course, people will always want to complain. I just mentioned that there are people saying this armor looks like it came out of the CW. Man, it's what I said at the beginning. I know people sometimes have a bit of pent-up ill will. They want to criticize everything. They want to find flaws in everything before seeing the final product. That's fine. The world is free. Everyone has the sacred right to criticize whatever they want. But damn, sometimes we look at something that is clearly well made and can't see where people get arguments to create so much controversy. I'm sorry, but this time the hate is purely unwarranted.
To prove to you guys that I'm a fair and critical guy when necessary, I prefer this Lex Luthor reveal in Man of Tomorrow 1,000 times over the first official image we got of Superman himself years before the first movie's release. If you recall, the first tease for the movie was just the symbol with snow, which was cool. But later, the first actual image of the hero was that official photo of Superman putting on his red boots while a threat was happening in the window, looking kind of grumpy and angry. I didn't really like that first take on the suit through that photo from James Gunn. He looked like a somewhat irritated Superman, kind of pissed off at the world. And that aesthetic didn't clearly convey what the movie's script promises so much behind the scenes, which is to give us a brighter, more optimistic, and truly hopeful Superman. I actually said exactly that in 2024 in my analysis video from that time. Take a look back in the channel's history if you want to check out my thoughts from that year in detail. Now, looking at the scenery around Lex Luthor with his helmet, the mystery remains. Where is he? Is he still on Earth, operating in some secret base? Is he on an alien planet studying Brainiac's technology? Or maybe he's on a lunar base. I don't know, but the background looks a lot like an environment outside of Earth's orbit. Maybe that's exactly why he needs to wear the helmet in the photo, because the armor, besides being for combat, functions as a life support spacesuit. That would perfectly justify the art team's design choices. Well, the plot possibilities here are sky high, but my conclusion stands. I liked it, I liked what I saw, I didn't think it was garbage, I didn't think it was bad, and I consider it an insult to say this is CW network production level. I can't see it that way at all. For me, it is visually approved. Now I want to see this machine working in practice.
It's highly likely that James Gunn revealed this image strategically right now, because in the next few days we'll have filming on external public sets, which means Lex Luthor should appear in armor in the middle of the street alongside Superman, and the director wanted to get ahead of low-quality paparazzi leaks. He did the same thing with the Superman photo. He dropped the official photo, and right after, the outdoor film set was flooded with behind-the-scenes pictures. And let's be honest, the real images we saw of Superman on the film set were infinitely better than the studio image James Gunn initially revealed. Now we're left to speculate. What will the initial dynamic and partnership between Superman and Lex Luthor against Brainiac's invasion be like? Will the movie follow the route of some comic books, where Lex poses as a misunderstood hero and saves the day alongside Supes, only to betray the Man of Steel at a crucial moment? It could be, right? When it comes to Lex Luthor, we should never trust him 100%. The Scorpion always stings in the end. Anyway, the gears are turning fast, and things are heating up with the Superman movie. Let's hope that new official images or high-quality leaks pop up later this week. And who knows, to crown this golden age, maybe we'll get more info or teasers from Matt Reeves' own Batman universe? If that happens, my friends, brace yourselves, because it's going to be an explosive week for pop culture. I make a commitment to you to cover absolutely everything about Superman right here. Cover the Batman news, and I know people will lose their minds if all this happens at the same time. I strongly believe Superman is coming out swinging with promotional materials, but I feel it in my gut that things from the Batman universe are coming soon too. Mark my words.
Now for the million-dollar question. If you had James Gunn's budget, would you keep the helmet or leave Lex with his bald head exposed, like in the 90s? I reply to all comments that bring a theory about the Argos Corporation. And if you want to read the comic that inspired all of this, the link is pinned right down below. Take the opportunity to watch this playlist dedicated to James Gunn's DCU. There I track the biggest news, info, and rumors, so you always stay in the loop. And we also do teaser and trailer breakdowns there. Go check it out right now. By the way, if you're digging this breakdown and want to stay ahead of the game with the new DCU, do me a quick favor. Smash that like button and hit subscribe right now. We drop fresh content here every single day, and you definitely don't want to miss out on the crazy week of news ahead. And I'll see you soon.